Okay, this is actually really bad, but let's see if they have Fire Fang or not. Yeah, they do. Okay. It's non-shadow too. Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't. Dang, that's not good. Let's see. Lanturn? Not Lanturn? Interesting. Maybe? I don't know. It's got to be something that beats Flyers. Oh, this degen. Okay. Okay, this is a little bit better for me, I think. Because if I take this out, I don't want to take too much Razor Leaf damage. Oh. I need to get to a move. I don't think I do. If they no shield this, the question is, can I get to double Power Whip? Oh, they shield. Oh, let's go. That feels good. Always feels good when you are able to beat a Fire Fang Mawile lead. Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to cover the Fossil Cup team that I've been running, and personally I don't love the meta because it's a bit on the RPS side, but I think I found a team that worked pretty well for me overall, so we'll break it down for you. So I was running a Ferrothorn in the lead, running Thunder as my secondary move, and then I was also running Kingdra and Mantine. Now, you could run a Shadow Kingdra. I personally just don't have one to make, so I can't really test it out and see how that goes. There's definitely some trade-offs here or there. I think the non-Shadow works really great in some situations, just being able to tank a few more moves, but the Shadow Kingdra Dragon Breath damage is definitely something to watch out for. So all these battles take place around the Legend rank. Definitely a lot of people that are very talented in this rank. So let's get into battles and see how this team works. Before we get into the battles, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you'd like private one-on-one coaching, scrims against me, some of my league guides and strategies ahead of time, or even tune into my live stream battles, feel free to sign up through the Patreon link down below. Getting into this first battle, we face a Poliwrath, definitely one of the harder leads. Yes, you have grass for it, but it does beat Ferrothorn, especially shields up. I like to swap straight away to my Kingdra. Usually speaking, it's worth shielding unless they go straight for a Power Punch, and they went for Dynamic Punch actually, so even more damage. We are met by a Ferrothorn, and of course this is like a 50-50 chance debuff, but I usually still go for it, and the main reason is because you have the chance to really take advantage of this matchup when you come in with your own Ferrothorn. Poliwrath is going to take super effective damage from all your moves on Ferrothorn, so if you debuff this Ferrothorn, yeah, they have a lot of energy, but you could get a ton back, and this Poliwrath is going to have to spend some shields to get rid of this. So kind of force my opponent's hand and bring in the Poliwrath, which is actually really good for me, because now we get the matchup we want. We have no idea what they have in the back, but a lot of times, especially because Ferrothorn's not the best answer to Mantine on their side, they probably have a Steel type or Electric type on their side. It's going to be a Lanturn, which is fine, as expected, but we have the matchup we want. I'm going to try to stall the timer as much as possible here by throwing the Aerial Ace. They're all resisted anyway, and I go for one more here. Overall, I think Water Pulse is better than Ice Beam, which is why I have the Water Pulse instead. You already have the super effective damage for grass types with Aerial Ace or neutral against Ferrothorn. And then you have the Water Pulse, which is a little bit better damage per energy in neutral settings where Ice Beam might be neutral as well. Also, the Water Pulse is really nice against Escavalier, where Ice Beam is resisted, and Aerial Ace is fine too, but Water Pulse just hits a little bit harder. But yeah, we get the matchup we want, which is super nice. Able to take out this Lanturn, and then if you remember earlier, their Ferrothorn was pretty low on health. They have a decent amount of energy though, so definitely still have to watch out for it. Thunder's definitely the move you want to throw, but if they're low enough, you can throw Power Whip. Of course, you can always run Mirror Shot and Flash Cannon, but me personally, I don't think that's best for this specific line. Thunder gives you a little bit of coverage into stuff like Escavalier, for example. Also, this team's very, very weak to Steel types. We're going to see later. So having Thunder for stuff like Registeel is going to be very pivotal for this team. Very unfortunate that I had to shield the Acid Spray, but, you know, it's not just how the cookie crumbles. And I'm going to go straight for the Outrage. My thought process is if I land it, I could potentially 2 shield and Dragon Breath down. Unlikely to go for Surf here because it's double resisted even if I'm debuffed. So that is actually quite nice that we could get. Yeah, you can see here, right? I survived the Surf. Obviously, you can say, oh, Shadow wouldn't survive, so maybe non-Shadow is better. But you have to think of it this way. If it's Shadow, you probably would Dragon Breath down anyway. So the trade-off there is not as clear. And we get a Poliwrath in the back, too. So kind of ABA weak to a Mantine, which means my Mantine is very, very strong. I am down a shield, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I'm in the right matchup that I need to be in. So we're going to go for another Aerial Ace. My guess is they probably don't shield this. Oh, they double shield. Okay. That is an option for sure. But I'm going to do my best to try to take out this Poliwrath. Ooh. Okay, we're pretty low on health here. And this might be a Power Punch. Let's see what it is. It ends up being Power Punch, which is nice for us. I'm going to go for the full Bullet Seed down. And then we have the Thunder left for the Escavalier. Power would probably be enough too, but why take that chance? So yeah, Kingdra in that safe swap position, I found to be one of the more reliable safe swaps in this meta. The other ones seem to be more easily punished regardless of what it is. So that's kind of what I landed on here. This is a very important match, especially if their Ferrothorn also has Thunder. If they have Flash Cannon, they have a slight advantage for sure. But if they have Thunder, which most do, what you do is you land 2 Thunder first, right? Obviously, if they shield, it changes the situation, but most don't shield this anyway. You go double Thunder, and then you go double Power Whip. I made this mistake once where I went triple Thunder, and the problem with triple Thunder is you can't Bullet Seed down, so you have to throw another move anyway afterward. You can see I'm actually winning Charge Attack priority, which is nice. So allows me to get the moves off first, but you need to go double Power Whip in these situations. I think I maybe got an extra move through actually, because it wasn't Charge Attack priority because I got a Bullet Seed through. Anyway, we take him out, and the reason why this is such an important match is because typically speaking, when this happens, they typically are also weak to Ferrothorn in the back. So having switch advantage is nice because not only can you get additional move off, especially when Charge Attack priority, but you get the alignment you want. Something I also notice is a lot of times in the back line, it's a Lanturn as a secondary water type or, you know, third Pokemon. So a lot of times you just have to use up your Mantine when you can, because if you have the Mantine safe in the back and they have a Lanturn, you have nowhere to go. Both Kingdra and Mantine have some neutral play into Jellicent, so it doesn't really matter too much in that front. It's more so just anticipating the electric type they have in the back. And obviously, like I said, Kingdra is very strong in this meta in a lot of situations. So it's definitely worthwhile. I'm going to go and shield the Aerial Ace and then go for Octazooka. Looks like I got a little overzealous here and ended up taking an Aerial Ace first. But either way, the Dragon Breath damage adds up quite a bit. Probably should have thrown Octazooka sooner, especially if they debuff, and it does debuff. Allows me to get to another one. At that point, too, I saw my own Mantine. Even going Outrage is kind of unnecessary at that point because the Dragon Breath and Octazooka damage is pretty substantial. Against a Mantine in the lead, I play Pelipper similarly as well. I usually bait with Power Whip once I get to Thunder because almost everyone shields. But this one's maybe trying to catch Thunder on the Togedemaru. So Steel, Electric. Definitely kind of tough for my backline, so I'm just going to stay in here. Mantine in the back is not nearly as bad for me. Most will not go Fell Stinger on that first move, so I felt like it was pretty worthwhile of a shield. They go for a Wild Charge again. I'm not going to double shield right there, but I have a lot of energy on this Ferrothorn. I'm going to swap over, expecting maybe them to throw an Aerial Ace with the Mantine. They do come in Mantine. They don't throw a move yet. They throw it now, but most of the moves on Mantine are pretty underwhelming. Even Ice Beam is only neutral, so we're just going to tank this and see what happens. Because I have my own Mantine in the back to help take care of it. And it's a Magnezone. So double Steel Electric, which if you look at it on paper, should like hard counter my team. But I think if you play it out well, you save your Ferrothorn for later. It could be really nice. One move definitely shield here, and it's on Charge Attack priority this next one, so I get the move off for sure. Luckily, we don't get debuffed on the Mirror Shot. And Magnezone is definitely on the frail side. Not enough to take it out, but that's okay. Hopefully our Mantine should be enough to do it. And yeah, able to finish it off. And I have a little bit more health than their Mantine, and that should be a wrap. Magnezone and Togedemaru, just like Electric Steel, are not necessarily the easiest to deal with, but there are definitely ways to handle it, particularly using the Ferrothorn in the right position. Really important is to optimize your timings if you can into the Magnezone with that 4-turn move. This is a fantastic lead, obviously. Let's see if we could continue and make something of it. So anytime I see this kind of swap, I know they're trying to bait out my Mantine, right? They have Lanturn in the front, hard counters Mantine. They have something that's very weak to Mantine on the safe swap. Now the only reason why they do this is because they have something else weak to Mantine. So I know they're trying to bait it out, but the problem is you can't really come in Kingdra into this because it's not a very clean matchup. You have to burn shields even. So I'm just going to give them the matchup they want. Kingdra, luckily, is pretty strong into a lot of Pokemon, even the counter and fighters. So especially up 2 shields, that should be okay. Now, on paper, this doesn't look great because steel types are going to resist Dragon Breath damage, but the Dragon Breath damage is adding up way faster. And luckily, they don't have Acid Spray on this Escavalier, so I'm just going to go Octazooka. I'm not even going to build up to the Outrage. Outrage does more damage, even though it's resisted, but Octazooka is enough damage and also has a chance to debuff, and I know they have the shield. So, that being said, we go for another move. You can see Dragon Breath damage is doing quite a bit. Even if they take me out here, they can't do anything else, right? they have no health left on Escavalier. So, worked out pretty well there. It was even worth shielding, even if I didn't get the second Octazooka off, because that Dragon Breath damage is what's most important. Double resistant Bullet Seed is just super underwhelming, unfortunately. But, yeah, we're in a good spot here. And, you know, this is a definitely a tough matchup for the opponent, but there are ways for them to win it. You just have to play, you have to, you know, take advantage of the team composition you have and, you know, play it out as clean as possible. Against a Golisopod, something I used to do is throw Thunder right away, but I noticed that every one of them shields, so I've been just baiting with Power Whip. Definitely watch out for a catch, because a lot of them will try to go for a catch in that situation. Now I'm going to swap over to Kingdra. Again, very strong safe swap. And they're down a shield, but they have the Ferrothorn, which is going to be a hard counter in this situation for sure. Trying to go for a debuff. Don't get it, unfortunately. I'm going to let this go and then maybe go for a Outrage and see what happens. Yeah, we get to the Outrage. This is kind of nice. It's one of the situations kind of like that Jellicent matchup where if you land the Outrage, you might be able to Dragon Breath down. This one looks like I wasn't able to, so not as good. But similar to the Poliwrath lead, you could potentially farm down and get a lot of energy. Okay. They actually come in with their Golisopod. So, I'm going to swap to Mantine. Catch another move on it, on the Mantine, which is kind of nice. Hopefully it's extra. It is, so that's really good. Get the full farm down. They have a Ferrothorn in the back. The only fear I have really now is that if they have a Lanturn in the back, which is definitely possible with a Golisopod in the lead, of course. And the fact that they stayed in for a little bit with Golisopod. So they actually come in with the Ferrothorn. They go for a Power Whip. So I'm going to just shield, see what they have in the back. Oh, it ends up being a Regiseal. So definitely not the easiest of matchups. But Regiseal pretty much could beat everything on the team. However, with enough energy, might not be too bad. They throw right before the Aerial Ace. I knew I was going to get to another Water Pulse anyway. I think this is my teammate, actually, and friend Rockhaven. But anyway, all this stored energy, super important. And you can see Thunder coming in clutch here, even against Regiseal, which, again, beats the whole team, but there are ways to beat it. I, generally speaking, lose to the majority of Regiseal, but I'm just showing a situation where you could potentially even beat it. All right, Jellicent in the lead. Looks pretty good overall for the Ferrothorn, but the Shadow Ball is still pretty impactful, and they stay in. So I'm going to shield because I'm thinking, all right, the Ferrothorn actually has a lot of value here. Maybe they have a Lanturn in the back, and then I go and catch a Shadow Ball, which is a good idea. I don't know. I figured Ferrothorn probably has more utility. Kingdra's kind of like a, you know, stopgap in between. And it's actually a Bastiodon, which is not good. I'm actually going to let him hit me with a few more Smackdowns before throwing this move, because if I debuff them, I don't want to give him more farm. Because double super effective Flamethrower is still a double super effective Flamethrower. It's really bad. I'm down a shield. The Bastion has a ton of energy. I'm down health as well on the Ferrothorn. So one Flamethrower should be almost enough, or is enough to KO me. At full health, Flamethrower is actually not enough, surprisingly, even at double super effective. But at this health range, I probably would go down. So try to do everything I can. I catch a flamethrower on my Mantine, which is like, it's like okay, but yeah, then we get the Lanturn matchup. So this is pretty bad. I mean, they have 2 shields either way. Even like, there's very few things I can have in the back that I could even beat based on the fact that I'm down 2 shields at this point, and they still have the Bastion, right? So yeah, this is going to be a really tough match, unfortunately. Kind of an interesting looking team. I'm very curious how the trainer did against, you know, the rest of the matchups, because it was definitely very strong to my team, despite the fact that I had a good lead. But I've never seen anyone else run any team similar to this. This is the only Bastion I've seen the entire Fossil Cup too. So yeah, but who knows? Maybe it worked really well for them. I believe it's a local mine as well too. So really cool, interesting team to see from them. Speaking of steel types are very, very strong into the team. Alolan Sandslash is pretty strong into the entire team as well. And this is where, I mean, Flash Cannon is actually better here because it's neutral, but Thunder is also good enough. I find that most do not shield this Alolan Sandslash, which works out pretty well for me. I'm not going to shield here because, you know, I'm going to get outpaced anyway. If I shield, they shield. But what I like to do here is, the main thing that I notice is people that have Alolan Sandslash in the lead typically are very weak to the backline, because the Alolan Sandslash is meant for, you know, being your anti-flyer, your anti-dragon, and the fact that I have a dragon flyer in the back and the Alolan Sandslash is mostly spent fighting the Ferrothorn, it's actually not too bad. So we'll see what they have in the back. If they have Lanturn, it could be definitely not good, but it's up being their own Mantine. I think I am debuffed at this point, so I'm just going to hold on to my energy as long as possible and then throw, and hopefully my switch timer is up soon. But they're going to throw first. Good on them to get this damage off before I swap out. Now I'm going to swap to my Kingdra, and you know, we all know Kingdra very impactful in terms of its damage, and Aerial Ace is just not very impressive against it. I thought that they were going to swap and catch or do something, but they end up not doing any of that. So I'm just going to throw the Octazooka at this point, and then they finally come in with the Alolan Sandslash, but I'm going to just Dragon Breath it down. I knew that they're pretty low on energy after swapping out after my Ferrothorn matchup with him. So going to go for another Octazooka. It's definitely going to force them to throw their energy, and I already have a move banked. I know they don't have enough energy, and to beat the Alolan Sandslash too. So even though, you know, core breakers are a thing, don't be too fearful of it. There are ways around stuff like Registeel, Alolan Sandslash with this team. Bastion, I don't know. that thing's a little bit hard to deal with, but luckily you don't really see too much of that. All right, so in this situation, I typically like to wait for them to throw the wild charge because they're unlikely going to shield. I go for the optimization here, which I probably shouldn't have because I'm at full energy, and they already threw 1 wild charge, so they can throw a wild charge and dip, and that's exactly what they do. And this is where I get punished for it, right? So I got a little greedy. I was over 100 energy, went for optimization just to get 1 extra bullet seed damage, but it allows them to swap out because they throw another wild charge, right? And then now I'm in a really tough spot because I'm down to shields. I have very little health on my Ferrothorn, and they have Ferrothorn in the back that has Thunder, presumably, and they do, and they still have Mantine. It's pretty bad. It is an interesting team they're running, ABA weak to fighting, but it's paying off for them, especially in this matchup. Not a team you probably see super often, but that being said, I also just could have played this better, even if it's a team that, you know, they have like kind of 2 core breakers against me. Go for the optimization there because I knew they didn't have another wild charge banked. We do take them out, so that's kind of good. I have no idea what they have in the back, so maybe there's a slight chance. I don't know what Kingdra could beat though. Down a shield. Yeah, that's way too hard. It ends up being a Jellicent. The Shadow Ball is going to definitely hurt. My only win con here is landing Outrage through the shields because there's no way I get to Outrage and Octazooka. Oh, I guess I'm going for it. Okay, I'm going for it. But they shield anyway. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter. I think my thought process, there's no way they don't shield before they throw a move. Oh, they actually went Surf. Not enough to KO, but I have way too low health. So, well played by opponents, and good lesson in, yes, going for optimization when you can, but sometimes it's not worth it. Anyway, that's going to be the team. I pretty much went positive in most of my sets running this. I didn't play a ton of Fossil Cup. Like I said, it's not my favorite cup, but you know, tough times. You got to play this or you got to play Master League this week. So a lot of people are probably opting for the Fossil Cup this week. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share. Subscribe for future content. Hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video. And I'll catch you all next time.